looks like we're live. We'll be getting started in about 2 minutes or so. Meanwhile, you can head over and enter in our giveaway. Thank you for the follow, Mavlock. Hey, Box Commander, and hello everyone else. It looks like it is 1 o'clock, so it's time to get started. This is Black 6 from BZPower, here for another live build for you all. Today we have the least requested live build that we've had for a while, the Star Wars Microfighters. We've got 11 sets here for a total of 14 Microfighters, since we got some 2-packs in there. Yeah, the Microfighters were never really like a line of the sets that I was super interested in. There's been a few of them that have been like really good resources for minifigures, either I guess if you're into like troop building or army building, or if you want certain named characters. I know back in the day I got the Ghost from Star Wars Rebels and did a review of that because that was the easiest way to get Hera as a minifig. I know I have this guy, even though I've never built him, because it's got Snap Wexley. He's one of my favorite characters from the new movies. Some of them are kind of odd choices as far as the characters they have. We'll talk about that as we go through things. Yeah, so we still have our giveaway link up. I'm actually gonna turn that off for now, I think, but that will still work. bzpower.com/giveaway. And as I said last week and on our announcement, so for every one of these sets we build, we are going to be giving away a Star Wars Buildable Figure. So we've got 11 sets, so that means 11 giveaways. I don't think I'm going to pick the winners after every set. That would just take too long, so after probably like every 2 or 3 sets, I'll pick 2 or 3 winners depending on what makes sense for how many sets we've built so far. So yeah, I don't see any reason why we should dilly-dally. So let's get started. Hey there, Grayson. Good to see you. So let's get that up. So gonna build these, I guess in like the order they came out. So we're gonna push these guys back, see how many of them fall. These boxes do not hold up well, I've found. As you can see, a lot of them are a bit crunched. I'd say, except for the ones provided by LEGO, most of them I get at like LEGO conventions, right? Because they're a cheap little set, so they're good for convention owners to buy as like giveaways and stuff like that. So I think I've gotten a bunch through there. I've probably bought a few if they were cheap. You can see on the Snowspeeder here, like I picked that one up because it was on sale for $8. 20% off isn't a bad deal. But yeah, so we're going to start with the clone turbo tank. This is from the original series of the Microfighters. You know, pretty much all of these are either $10 or $20. This one contains 96 pieces, so pretty good ratio there. Hey there, Dollar. Good to see you. So this one includes a Phase 2 clone trooper. So like I was talking about before, this would have been a good one for like the army builders out there. And oh yeah, that's right, there was a video game for the Microfighters. I'm not sure if that's still available on the App Store and Google Play. I don't think I ever played it or anything. So let's open her up. And yeah, I kind of expect these to go by pretty quickly. Not a lot to them. Well, I appreciate you joining us while you can, Dollar. Hey, Max Paleo, welcome. Alright, so we've got our instruction book, nothing fancy there. And yeah, start with our minifigure, so we'll build him. Our angry looking clone trooper. And there should be a blaster somewhere in here. So he definitely angry looking there. Only a single-sided head. He does have some nice printing on the back. And then of course he's got his Phase 2 clone trooper helmet. Alright, let's get our picture-in-picture up and running. Looks like it should be good. Turn that on. Yeah, so we've got these 1x8 Technic beams that kind of make up the core structure here that all the wheels are going to attach to. And by wheels, it looks like I mean 2x2 round bricks. One such fun thing we get to do is I'm looking at these, and especially a lot of the older ones, they've got lovely flick fire missiles in them still. So certainly something to really look forward to. I mean, I don't think that the teeny tiny vehicle with an oversized pilot is like a new idea. You know, we've definitely seen that in a lot of other collectibles. In a way, it's kind of reminiscent of like Funko Pops and like the odd sizing ratios. You know, obviously, they did a more direct inspiration of Funko Pops with the brickheads. I think we've seen, you know, like little sculptures or figurines that include like a mini X-Wing with a oversized pilot, so you get the detail on the pilot, but make the X-Wing smaller. I know, is it like Play School, I want to say, has, you know, certainly done things like that with some of their sets. Or some of their toys. I guess it wouldn't really be sets because they're not buildable. I think it was Play School and Fisher Price. One of those brands targeted at younger kids has definitely done that kind of thing in the past. I am liking all the snot brackets that this set has. And some snot bricks as well. obviously the set is now like 6 years old, so you're not going to be able to get it readily, but I can definitely see how this would have been a nice parts pack back in the day, especially for those builders who, you know, like their fig barfs and wanted to make a whole clone army. This would have been a really good way to be able to do that and get some good parts out of it too. Here we go, we've got our flick-fire quote-unquote launcher pieces. I know them as soon as I see them. Oh yeah, the planet sets from back in the day, those were pretty cool. That was definitely an interesting idea with like, yeah, the mini build. And they had some interesting printed display parts, as I recall. But I have to imagine that the planet pieces itself were kind of expensive to make, since some of them were unique molds, and at the very least they had unique printing on them. So that certainly probably made them a lot more difficult to keep going, especially if they weren't selling well. I do remember seeing those on clearance a good bit. Hey there, Topai. Good to see you. This is a cool little technique, using binoculars as blasters on the front here. Get some small scale details. Alright, and yeah, we're just about done. We just need to add the wheels on. And the wonderful flick fires. It is impressive, I think, that the microfighters are still going on, because I guess because they're so cheap, they're just like a nice little impulse buy, especially when so many other Star Wars sets are so expensive. Alright, got flick fires on here, and yeah, that is it. These extra parts out of the way. I'll show this off quickly before we go on to the next set. Alright, so here is our clone turbo tank microfighter. This is a cute little build. I'm not super impressed by it, obviously, because it is a very, very small set. The wheels, I'm not sure I'm a fan of. I don't know, I assume it rolls fairly well. Well, there's a good bit of friction because of all the wheels, but they work fairly well. But I feel like definitely is one of the weaker sets that I've seen and built so far. I don't think I've built too many of the Microfighters, but just from looking at them. This would definitely not have been one I would have chosen to pick up. Like I said, I've probably gotten a lot of these either on clearance or as like a free set from a contest or something at a LEGO convention. But you know, it's cute for the $10. Good parts, so it probably will not stay assembled for too long, and the parts will probably get sorted into my collection. What do we got going on here? Does anyone remember the Space Inventors blasters? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Galaxy Squad, as Max said. I mean, I think a lot of the sets could be modified if you don't like having the pilots popping out of them. You know, you could probably fill that in with like a 2x2 brick and like a 2x2 tile on top, and then it would just be like a mini turbo tank. Although I'm sure they've made a polybag turbo tank at some point as well. All right, let's move on to our next one. Going on to Series 2, sticking with the Clone Wars somehow. Not sure how we managed that. Hopefully that'll update in a sec there. There we go. All right, so we're gonna move on to the ARC 170, featuring another clone, although this time you can actually see his face with his clone pilot helmet on. 95 pieces, so right around that same area. I'm curious to see, after we open it up, we'll see if those are prints or if those are stickers on there. The first set did not have any stickers. And yeah, you can see based on how crushed this box is, it's seen some better days there. The picture I shared on Instagram where I had like 3 layers of these stacked on top of each other was a very quick take. I had to pretty much like stack them, take the picture, and then watch them all fall down. These boxes do not hold up. They're kind of like the first wave of G2 Bionicle boxes, where if you looked at those the wrong way, they would get smushed. Alright. Let's build us a clone pilot. Alright, so here is our pilot. The visor is printed on his head. He's got plain gray legs, which I think is a little disappointing. He does have a dual-sided head, though, with an angry face and some nice back printing. And then once you put the helmet on, give him his blaster, I think the printed visor on the face works out pretty well. Although it is really cool on the newer ones. And I'm not sure, I think that Resistance X-Wing with Snap Wexley has it, where the visor piece is actually a second molded piece, which I think is probably cooler than the printed visor. It allows for some more uses in the elements, but we'll see how that goes as we go through the years, right? Because we've moved on from 2014 to 2015 as far as when these sets came out. Hey there, Brickus. This is the best set here, huh? The ARC 170 is definitely a cool ship. You know, they kind of gave it that X-Wing predecessor feel, but made it different enough for it to stand out on its own. Oh, we got some more flick fires in this one. I'd have to say, just like from looking at the sets we've got, the ones I'm probably most looking forward to are Kylo Ren's TIE Silencer or the Resistance Y-Wing. But this one might be close. We'll have to see how I feel after I've built them all. I think the only ones of these I've had built before today, well, I've probably built some, or at least gotten the pieces from some in like combo builds or speed builds at LEGO conventions, but usually those sets get like taken apart before I even make it back home. Well, back when we had LEGO conventions, but before I get back home from the convention, so it'd be like on Sunday when I'm trying to pack everything up, I'm like, do I want to pack up this completed set, or do I want to take it apart and save space in my packing? And usually it's the latter these days. Especially since I would always run into things where like I would keep it built and then bring it home, and then it would just sit there like in a bag or a box for like months and months after I got home. So I figured if I take it apart beforehand, I'm more likely to sort it back into my collection sooner. So I've tried to kind of get into that habit. Definitely some interesting shaping going on here. Notice we've got these Technic pieces that I thought were going to be for flick fires, but they might actually be where the wings attach to. So it's going to be a kind of cool technique. I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out. And then, so in addition to any ones I've built at conventions, would be, I believe, the TIE Advanced Prototype. I think I did a review of that, and the Ghost, which I'm almost positive I did a review of. And the Ghost one was awesome. Like I said, a great way to get Hera from Rebels in minifig form. But also it's a good little build. The TIE Silencer I remember liking, but it was really weird, or not the TIE Silencer, the TIE Advanced Prototype. But it was weird because, you know, the TIE Advanced Prototype, putting on my Star Wars nerd hat, you know, was flown by the Grand Inquisitor, but then it was just a normal TIE Fighter pilot who was included in the set. I think that's an issue with like a few of these sets. Oh, we got some transfluorescent green Baraki eyes going on the flickfire missiles instead of cones. A nice little departure. You know, on the one hand, it's nice to kind of get some general army builders like the Phase 2 Clone Trooper. But there's some, like we've got Krennic's Imperial Shuttle up there, but it doesn't include Krennic, it just includes like a generic Imperial officer guy. Like, that seems odd. I mean, do people really want that many Imperial officers to build their Fig Barf armies? Yeah, I missed both of those sets when they first came out as well. Thankfully, I knew someone who could hook me up with the Phantom. And so I got that for, I don't know, I think I did a trade to get that, but the Ghost I did end up buying, and it was pretty pricey. I haven't built it yet. That's I haven't built either of them. There's probably like a stream somewhere down the line, maybe. But yeah, it definitely was not a fun fun buy. But thankfully, again, you know, back when conventions could happen, like I was able to find an AFOL who's going to be at the convention and had it for sale, and we were able to like kind of make a deal. And he brought it to the convention, so after paying for shipping on it and stuff, definitely miss those days of con deals. Alright, so as I was hoping, those 2x2 round tiles are indeed printed. Just a kind of neat print that we got there. I don't know if it was would have ever been used in another set, but hey, we got a unique print there. Wonder if they kind of shied away from stickers because these sets are targeted at younger builders. Kind of curious to know how that works. Mavlock asked a question before. Favorite LEGO Star Wars set and favorite year? Yeah, right, really, Toapai, it's like, oh, the big super expensive sets, those have plenty of stickers on them. Favorite LEGO Star Wars set? That is a tough one. I definitely don't think I can pick a favorite year because I just don't think of sets by year too often. So it's not really like a frame of reference I have. Look, I have some shelves right off to my left here with a whole bunch of Star Wars sets that I've built and have not disassembled because I like them, so presumably one of my favorites would be there, unless I would decide on a UCS one. There's definitely a lot of options, that's for sure. The theme's been going on for over 20 years now. I think we finished the set. All right, I think we're gonna build one more, and then we'll do 3 giveaways. Gotta stick with our prequel era. We'll show this guy off first, then we'll get onto that Vulture Droid. All right, so here is our ARC 170. Hope I get those clipped in all the way. So it's, I think it's pretty good representation. I do like how it does have quite, you know, some wings that fold out, so that's a cool little feature here. Obviously, it's a small scale, so it's not like on, you know, the X-Wing sets where you can like push a lever and the wings open. It's all manual, but it's definitely nice that they were able to capture that in the build. I like how they use the flick-fire missile pieces as the engines here, instead of the flick-fires that are on the bottom there. I was hoping these were going to be used for the wing mechanism, but nope, they were just used for flick-fires. It does have some interesting shaping here, like the little notch back there, that I think is featured in the actual ship in the movies and shows and stuff, so it's kind of nice. So yeah, all told, a pretty decent little set there. Alright, moving on to our third set. We've got the Vulture Droid, which includes a pilot battle droid. Just kind of an odd choice from an army builder perspective. Like, I get that, you know, he's kind of like piloting the ship. So they want to include the pilot version. But you know, from an army builder perspective, I would definitely want like a normal battle droid. Not that I don't think there are enough normal battle droids out there in other sets, So maybe this one works out. You can see we do have another printed part there, that little slope there. So that'll be cool to see. This one only has 77 parts compared to the nearly 100 parts the first two had, so a little bit of a little fewer parts. But as you can see here, a lot of them are like these bigger slope pieces, so it kind of makes sense. And obviously, you know, they want to keep these all in the same price range, so that might have meant that they maybe made a little more money off of this set than some of the others. Who knows? Alright, so we've got our pilot battle droid. Man, that tan printing on his chest looks pretty shoddy. Not gonna lie there. But otherwise, he's a battle droid, the blue body, and some tan printing. Nothing we haven't seen before. So I think, as far as my favorite Star Wars sets would go, two that would be in the running would be the UCS Slave one. That one was a whole lot of fun. So many awesome little details that they are able to capture in that. That was definitely probably one of my favorite UCS sets for sure that I've built. And the other set I would pick is probably a set or a vehicle that I would love for them to re-release now that they have, you know, updated their style and techniques in a lot of sets and stuff. Would be the TIE Defender, because that is by far like my favorite ship in Star Wars. And I was really hoping when the TIE Defender appeared in Rebels, that meant we would get a new one, a new set. But sadly, that never happened. So I do like this technique here. So you've got this axle with a stud on it, and we're inserting the stud into this Technic socket and putting it in here. So once we attach something onto here, it will give a lot of friction, and I assume that's going to be part of the wing/leg mechanism. It's a nice little technique, and it also helps lock that axle in place so it's not going to come out. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with that TIE Defender set from like 2010 or 11 or so. Like like I said, I've got a bunch of sets on some shelves to the left of camera, so I'm kind of looking at them, and I have that, and the most recent, or one of the more recent, Darth Vader's TIE Advanced, and then the TIE Silencer from Rebels, not TIE Silencer, TIE Advanced Prototype from Rebels, and just like the shaping on the cockpits of those two compared to that TIE Defender, like the TIE Defender just looks so out of date. But I just love the ship and the shaping of it and everything. And like I said, I'd love to get an updated version of that. They have announced that they're bringing the TIE Defender as well as the B-Wing into the Star Wars Squadrons game. So maybe there's hope yet. If we get there's some more video game tie-in sets. We did get some Star Wars Battlefront tie-in sets. And were there any for Jedi Fallen? I don't think there are any Jedi Fallen Order tie-in sets, but we got some Battlefront ones, so you know, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. And yeah, if they were to do that, I would be all over that. Alright, so we've got our printed part, little 4x3 curve slope with the Vulture Droid eyes. And of course we've got our flick fires. Kind of curious to see as we build these guys, right? We're just kind of going year by year almost. Well, I think there's maybe 1 year that we do skip. Yeah, I don't think we have anything from Series 6 here, so we do skip whatever year that was, I guess last year. But kind of be curious to see the evolution of the microfighters as far as like if we get additional details. Or when the flick fires go away and we make the switch to stud shooters. Yeah, I mean, it appeared the YT was 2400. I believe that's what the Outrider was. Dash Under's Outrider and Shadows of the Empire, if I remember correctly. It only appeared in one episode of Rebels. I don't think there's too big of a chance, unfortunately. But if it appeared in one episode, maybe it'll appear in some others in the future. Other media, and maybe we can get a set out of it. I think it's appeared in some of the comics as well. Alright, we've got our wings / legs coming together. And seeing as we are pretty close now to being done, I'm going to go turn on our giveaway overlay. So if you have not entered already, you can go ahead and do that now. Alright, and that is it for our Vulture Droid. Which, not gonna lie, might be my one of my favorite so far of the three. It does have this little 1x2 plate with a bar on it that the pilot is supposed to hold on to. It's a little cheap maybe for him to do that. He's kind of riding it like a staff. From episode 1, but whoever it was, I forget who said earlier that they don't like, having the figure on it. Well, this one you can take him off, and yeah, there's that little bar sticking out, but it looks like it's just a little chibi Vulture Droid. And then because of that Technic mechanism I talked about before, the wings turn down, and it can go into like the little walking mode. So it's definitely the coolest little play feature of the 4 of them. I think the flick fires on the bottom aren't too obtrusive like they are on the turbo tank. They're not too bad on the ARC 170 either. But he's definitely a cute little guy. I definitely like him. He's one that might stick around. I can't remember. I don't think I've gotten a Vulture Droid set since like 1999. I definitely had the original one from the Phantom Menace. I don't think I've gotten any of the re-releases. So that's the old brown one before they came in this color scheme in the Clone Wars and Attack of the Clones and stuff. So yeah, there's him. That is true. They did make that quad jumper set. That was an odd choice. Alright, so that was our third set. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to pick. Oh, what did I just break there? Alright, we're going to turn that off. Turn that off for a sec. And get ready for our next build, and then we're going to pick some winners. Alright. Well, we definitely have more than 3 people who have entered. So our first winner for today is MSEP. Congratulations, you've won a Kylo Ren buildable figure. We'll be sending you an email to get your address so we can ship you that prize. And just a note for everyone, you only have to enter once and you're entered in all the giveaways. Our second winner, Lord Oblivion, won a Boba Fett buildable figure. Congrats. And our third winner, Post Office is going to love me this coming week, is Makuta LaRocca, who won an Imperial Death Trooper buildable figure. So congrats, LaRocca, there. So MSEP, Lord Oblivion, and LaRocca, check your inboxes. Should have, be getting an email from me that should be automated to get your address info so we can send you your prize. All right. So now we've got the Snowspeeder coming up. I don't remember if I actually bought this for $7.99 or if the person at running the convention I was at went and bought a whole bunch on sale for $7.99. But either way, for $8 for 97 parts, not a bad deal. I actually have built this one before. Somehow I managed to get 2 of these sets without trying. Like sometimes, yeah, there's sets that are good parts, and so you get multiples of them. And I'm not sure why I have to, but I definitely built one in the past few months. But that was not on stream or anything. I think that one, I think it was kind of like I talked about before, where you know, you get things at a convention, like the box is like damaged or something, and then just kind of gets packed away. I've been going through a bunch of old stuff. Thanks to COVID, was trying to do some cleaning and found like the set and the box is just like completely smushed, just like not recognizable. So I'm like, well, I can't do this on stream because you can't even tell what the box is anymore. So I guess I'll just build it for fun. So we'll build it again here. So here's our pilot. Much like the clone pilot, he's got his visor printed on his face. Looks like a generic Rebel Trooper. I'm not sure if, you know, he's definitely not identified on the box as having a name. And the helmet is fairly generic with just like the 2 Rebel insignia on it and not a lot of other printing. So I'm not sure if this is a named character from Empire Strikes Back. I don't know if it's like Zev Sineska or anyone like that. Pretty sure most of them have had appearances in minifig form. And I think this might just be a generic, you know, Rebel Pilot number 6. I feel like when I was looking on Brickset, who usually does a pretty good job of capturing if these random minifigs are actual characters. I don't think it was anyone in particular. I think they just have him listed as Rebel Pilot. So this is interesting. We got these 1x4, I guess, gear plate or tooth plate that we're putting on the back for like those radiator fins that they've got on the back there. Those are pretty cool little design technique. A little disappointing that he's just, you know, generic Rebel pilot. I feel like, you know, if you're into LEGO Star Wars and you collect the sets, you've probably gotten plenty of different Rebel pilots over the years. So might as well like make a named pilot for us. And like Rebel pilots aren't necessarily, you know, one that you need to do like army building of. There weren't that many Rebel pilots. They had to, you know, they were very in demand, I guess you could say. And especially since, like, you know, in the expanded universe, especially, they all have names. So pick one with a name. Like Thyronet or someone. You have a printed part here, 2x3 slope, with that stripe that goes down the middle of the snowspeeder on it. That's interesting that they used a similar technique in a polybag set to what they did in this one. Got a little harpoon gun made out of an antenna piece. Alright, and now for our little wings. I don't think I addressed your comment earlier, Max, when you said you forget how awesome the prequel designs are. They really are pretty fantastic. I think for a lot of Star Wars fans, the sequel trilogy really made us look back at the prequels and be like, we had it good back then, didn't we? I mean, the prequels certainly have their moments where they maybe fall flat a little bit, but I've definitely grown to appreciate them more as time has gone on, especially with the sequel trilogy now done and wrapped. And they actually, they had, like, Ralph McQuarrie was still working on some of the prequel trilogy. He sadly has passed now, but back in the 90s, he was still doing Star Wars stuff. And there are still enough people from that original era, from the original movies, who came back for the prequels, that they definitely had some good designs. Some interesting ones too. We did our Jedi Starfighter build last week, and we were talking about the physics-defying nature of the astromech droids in a lot of the vehicles from the prequel era. But hey, not everything's perfect. Yeah, I definitely get that toe pie. I think that would probably be one of my main issues with the sequel trilogy, as well, is that, yeah, it just kind of lacks that sense of cohesion. Even within movie to movie, you know, I know a lot of people like really hate The Last Jedi. Okay, so before we talk about The Last Jedi, we've got the wings attached via click hinges here. And we've got the snot brick with a little cheese slip on there that keeps the wings locked at the proper snow speeder angle. It's a very nice little technique there. And because I built both wings at once, I can just skip all that. Where was I? The Last Jedi. Like, even within that movie, just so much of that did not make like sense consistently. Like, there was like a lack of consistency from event to event within that movie. It's like, wait, we're doing this? Why? This is kind of cool technique. We've got the 2x2 round tile with a hole in it that we're sticking a flick-fire missile stud into to make the engine. Yeah, I would say, you know, for me, for The Last Jedi, a lot of the things that that you see, like the vocal negative reactions about for that movie are not things that I particularly have issues with. I was generally fine with the whole Luke and Rey storyline. My dislike in that film is mainly centered around the Poe, Finn, and Rose storyline. That I didn't buy it. Like, it didn't feel believable to me. It was just very, very disappointing overall with how that was all handled. And then, like you said, yeah, like, it ignores stuff that happens in the Force Awakens, and then The Rise of Skywalker ignores stuff that happened in the other one. Alright, so we've got our snowspeeder built. I guess these little clips on the back are just like supposed to be little greebly details. So I guess if you wanted to, you might be able to clip the blaster in there. So that's kind of nice that it's got that. Maybe not. Is there a way? No, okay, so I guess it's like 100% purely just a little detail. He's gotta keep holding his blaster. That is one thing I did not mention, I don't think, on the ARC 170 is that it does have a clip on the back, which I think is 100% supposed to be to attach the blaster onto. It's a little obvious when it's on there, but it's nice to have. I mean, we were talking about that with the Jedi Starfighters, how nice it is to have those features in a set to store, you know, extra ammo or blasters when the pilot's not holding them. I'm looking at the other Series 2 microfighters here. I think I'm a little bummed that I did not get the Republic gunship. I'm fine without the AT-AT and the Spider Droid, but the gunship looks like it wasn't half bad there. So, oh well. Alright, so next up, we are going to the sequel trilogy. With the Resistance X-Wing fighter. What do we got for comments here? Alright, so our Resistance X-Wing fighter featuring one of the best characters to come out of the sequel trilogy, Temmin Snap Wexley. I don't know if he's ever even referred to by name in the films. Hey there, Mucus Drizzle. Love the name. Oh, this one's actually tape closed with no punch tabs there. You can see there's the TIE Advanced and the Ghost that I got. I didn't get the ATDP or the Wookiee gunship. We do have the Snowspeeder that never appeared on film. That we'll be building next after this. Yeah, just how it all went down in that film was just a little odd for sure. But hey, now we have the Mandalorian. If you guys saw everything that came out of the Disney's investor meeting Thursday? It was Thursday, like. We got a lot more Star Wars coming. And definitely a lot to look forward to there. The Ahsoka spin-off, Rogue Squadron movie, a Droid Story movie, the Acolyte, Star Wars Visions, just all sorts of Star Wars coming down the pipe. Very excited. It looks like, you know, maybe they finally kind of figured out what they're supposed to do to get Star Wars working. All right, so here is Snap Wexley, his lovely Rebel flight suit, that beautiful beard, and he's got a helmet that, unlike the Snowspeeder pilot and the clone pilot, actually is dual molded and has a trans yellow visor built in. So when Timon wears it, it goes on. It's got some lovely printing on there, and he only has a one-sided head as well. But definitely love this fig. This is entirely why I bought this set. If you have not read the Star Wars Aftermath trilogy, very cool book series. You know, as you might be able to guess by the title, set in the aftermath of the Galactic Civil War. So it is kind of like the lead up to the Battle of Jakku, which of course is where all of that wreckage came from in The Force Awakens, and that is when we get introduced to Snap as a younger child. I think he's like a teenager in the books, and you know, we find that he gets like trained by Wedge Antilles and get a lot of cool backstory on him. He has a battle droid friend that he programmed called Mr. Bones, who is awesome. If you're into audiobooks, you should definitely listen to the audiobooks. Oops, sorry about that. Of the Aftermath trilogy, just for the voice of Mr. Bones. Definitely some fun books to read if you're into Star Wars. Yeah, first, you know, because there's just like lots of images and stuff getting shared online, and I, you know, before, I didn't actually watch the presentation, so I didn't see it in like real time. So I saw like a screen grab from it that had like the Rogue Squadron logo, and I thought it was going to be a TV show, which I might have been a little more excited about, because that kind of reminds me of the Rogue Squadron books from back in the 90s. And they could have, you know, possibly done some cool things with that turning into a TV show, but I think I'm pretty fine with it being a movie, especially with Patty Jenkins helming that. She definitely seems very passionate about the subject matter. So want to know like when in the timeline, etc. Just so many questions, obviously, that I know we're not going to get answers to. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there already speculating. So many things they could do. I'm also really curious, you know, to find out what the Acolyte is about. Like, that seems like it might be Jedi related, or when I think Acolyte, this is in part because I play Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. There's the Night Sister Acolyte. Looking at this, I think this means we're supposed to build 2, but it doesn't say a wing X2. It just says, it just shows 2 wings. But I'm guessing, you know, there's obviously 2 builds, so we're essentially building 4 wings because it's an X-wing. So I'm wondering if that's going to be a series about like the Night Sisters, which would be pretty freaking awesome, I think. The Massage Ventress book was pretty cool. I would love to see more Night Sisters. They were definitely a fun part of the Clone Wars TV series. Oh yeah, could be the Old Republic. I mean, they are doing the High Republic publishing project, and there was rumors before the investor meeting that there was going to be a High Republic TV show. But that did not get announced. That doesn't mean it's not happening. But, you know, that they could certainly do something in the High Republic era, which isn't quite the Old Republic, you know, like Knights of the Old Republic and the MMO, but still, you know, further back in time, which is cool. Would love to see that for sure. And the Ahsoka book, definitely fantastic. I would say if you can only read one series of Star Wars books, the Thrawn series is probably the way to go. Talking mainly about new canon, obviously there's the original Thrawn trilogy from Legends, but I think we're up to 4 new Thrawn books. 3 that are set in like more of the Rebels era timeline, but now there's the 4th one is starting a new trilogy that is set more in the prequel era, but has nothing to do with the prequels. It is set like entirely in the unknown regions, so it is like no real involvement with like the Republic and the Separatists or any of that. It is all like the Chiss ascendancy, and Timothy Zahn is pretty awesome at making Thrawn such like a good character, whether he's a hero or a villain. My biggest concern with the High Republic is that Yoda is going to be in it, and I just hope they don't lean on him too much. I mean, Yoda's awesome and all, but I definitely want to see new characters and like new experiences. All right, attaching S-foils. And I think that is it because I already built all those. All right. Temin, get in your X-Wing. So, a few things with this guy. Gotta watch out when you close the S-foils because they can look a little weird, a little kind of cockeyed, unless you kind of carefully try to line them up. And then there are these little clips on the top and bottom, that keep them from opening too much. So it probably looks better with them open. Which another thing is, it's kind of weird that the flick fires are the entire cannon on the tip of the X-Wings. So that's a little strange to see. And let's see. Other issues. I'm finding a lot of issues with the set. The engines look very weird because they have no intakes. Also, unless I did something wrong, I might have. I'm looking at the picture and it doesn't look like I did. You know, the wings on the, what is this, the T70 X-Wing, they're supposed to be like differently shaped. So they kind of like interlock with each other when they fold down, whereas these are all identical. So it doesn't quite capture the proper shape of the S-foils, unfortunately. And the nose, it's a little lacking. So yeah, kind of hard to recommend this. This is definitely one you get for the minifigure. And you know, that's only if you're a Star Wars nerd like me who wants Temin. And we can make the battle droid pilot be his Mr. Bones. All right. Let's move some of these guys back a little bit. So this is gonna be the next one. Let's fix the overlay. All right, so got a couple things in the chat I will address. Resistance Reborn. I enjoyed that one. You know, it wasn't like an amazing book, but it has Wedge in it, has Temin, Snap Wexley in there, and it's more that it like ties in some of the other books and stuff to the films, and it's like, why weren't these characters in the movie when they were in The Last Jedi, when they were in the Force Awakens and stuff? So that kind of like ties things together a little bit, helps explain things, but it's more of like an explanation book, like a Arbad book. All right, so you've got the First Order Snowspeeder, which I believe only appeared in a deleted scene in The Force Awakens, so kind of odd that they made a set off of it, but maybe the set was already in production before it got cut from the film. I forget if they made a full-size set. I think they made a full-size set of this as well, didn't they? Hey there, Aaron. Good to see you. Do I think LEGO will do something special for Bionicle's anniversary? I know LEGO is aware of the anniversary coming up. I guess it depends on what you mean by special. I know myself and some other, you know, Bionicle focused fan sites have already reached out through the LEGO Ambassador Network to be like, hey, is there something we can do? And so we'll see if anything comes of that. If you're like, oh, you know, they should make a set or something for the anniversary, that I kind of doubt, but we'll see. But I know that they are aware. You know, obviously you guys have all heard or read the various accounts that, you know, in the 2000s, Bionicle was one of the themes that saved LEGO, so you'd think that they would recognize it. So we'll have to see, but they're definitely aware of it, that's for sure. All right, so we've got our, I don't know, the First Order Snowtrooper. So we're just gonna look at his body there. I do like the printing that he's got. A little bit on the back, but the back being plain isn't a bad thing because he actually has a 1x1 printed tile that goes on a little bracket there to make his little backpack. He's got an angry face, and then his snow trooper helmet. I think, is the angry face the same as the clone trooper? Yep. So you know, decades and decades later, they still look the same. Alright, so yeah, there is our first order snow trooper. Not a bad fig. Like, this is definitely, I guess, one of those sets where you could see it as being an army builder. That said, like I was saying before, you know, that this ship vehicle got cut from the film. I don't think we ever actually saw First Order Snowtroopers in the film at all. So that makes for an odd thing you'd want to do an army build of. But hey, to each their own. I don't even think, like, I guess maybe, I think in the book they do get mentioned, the novel adaptation of The Force Awakens, but other than that, they don't even like appear in any of the other canon media, I don't think. And so yeah, kind of going back in time with the comments there. Back to the T70x Wings. Pretty sure that this first couple sets they did for the T70. Oh, did I skip? Did have some differences in the wings compared to normal X-wings. Maybe it just wasn't as noticeable. Have to go look. Yeah, I think there was some difference, but I guess it just was not noticeable enough for everyone. But then there's like the even newer X-Wing that gets featured in Star Wars Resistance that the New Republic is flying. It's not the same ones they have in The Mandalorian. I think in The Mandalorian they have the T70s. But then, of course, you know, a decade or two later, they have the next generation that gets seen in Resistance a little bit. But of course, the actual Resistance has the hand-me-downs. Only the New Republic gets the new hotness, not the old busted. Yeah, I will say it definitely helps that one of the people on the LEGO A-Full engagement team, which I think is going to be changing their name next year, so we'll see what they get called then, is a Bionicle fan, Jordan Paxton. We actually did an interview of him back at New York Toy Fair, the year Bionicle was announced to be coming back. And yeah, he's like about my age or so. So he was still like a kid when Bionicle first came out, like near the upper edge of it, but enough to be aware of it and to be a fan. So he's definitely a fan, and he is definitely interested, I think, in working with the community to do what is within his power. You know, obviously he doesn't control what like LEGO at a higher level does. But yeah, maybe they could do something with on LEGO Ideas to make do a contest or something. But yeah, the folks at the Three Virtues and Biosector 01 and BZPower, we have definitely been in touch with them through the Ambassador Network, being like, hey, next year, big anniversary, you should do something. They're like, oh yeah. And then of course, you know, as the fan community has already done things like Bio Day. So you can expect us to try to do something bigger for that next year because it is the big anniversary. And you know, with any luck, we can get LEGO to help out with that, but we'll see. This is not an announcement. This is just speculation of what I would love to see. I'd love to be able to go to LEGO conventions next year too, so you could celebrate in person. Put on some awesome Bionicle displays. We'll see how that goes. It's actually quite a intricate build here going on with all this stuff underneath. Start planning now for the 25th anniversary. Oh, very optimistic. You know, at the beginning of the whole pandemic, you know, I was trying to keep things optimistic, like, oh, hopefully, you know, everything will be good for Brick Fair, Virginia. We can go to that and have a good time. And it was like, oh, hopefully Brick Fair, New Jersey. At this point, like, you know, 2021 events are already being canceled, and so I'm just like, I'm personally right now not planning on going to any events in 2021, and if it happens, then that will be awesome, but if it doesn't, at least I won't be disappointed. And it's sad, but that's where I'm at right now. Alright, we're almost done with this set, which is going to be our 6th set built, so we're putting our giveaway link back on. And we'll be picking 3 more winners in a couple of minutes once we finish building our snow speeder. Alright, looks like that is done. I'd say so far this one probably is one of the ones that makes the most sense to be at this scale. I think it works pretty well as like a little land speeder. I do like the little turret that they have, using the stud shooter. You can kind of move around. Like little asymmetry, just a little bit asymmetry with the lightsaber handle. It's supposed to be like a blaster or sensor. It's got some boat skids on the bottom, so it can just kind of slide across the surface. I really liked the build on the bottom here in general. It's got a bunch of snot stuff going on to give some interesting shapes. Got the unprinted astromech heads here. And altogether, not a bad little set. I am pretty impressed with that. All right. So let's go ahead, turn that off, give everyone another minute or two to enter in the giveaway, and then we will start picking winners. All right, so let's see who our next 3 winners are going to be. Dollar, congratulations. You've won an Elite TIE Fighter Pilot buildable figure. Toe of Pie, congratulations. You've won a Darth Maul buildable figure. And winner number 3, T-Torp, or T-Torp. Congratulations, you won a K2SO buildable figure. So again, congrats to Dollar, Toe of Pie, and Torp, T-Torp. You will all be getting some emails so we can get your address and send you that prize. And just another reminder for anyone who's tuned in since our first giveaway, you only need to enter once and you'll be good for the entire stream. We do not toss out your names after each giveaway, so you are still good, you are still eligible to win. And we'll be picking some more winners in a little bit. All right, are there any BZP building contests in the works? Not at the moment, no. We have been sponsoring some contests over at Masterpiece, at their community, so we've been giving them some prizes for the monthly building contests that they've been doing. It's about the closest we've gotten to doing any contests lately. It's been busy, you know. Some people with the pandemic have had more free time, but other people working from home has added more to their plates, and unfortunately, for Toofy and myself, that's been the case. So it's been hasn't been a lot of time to relax and catch up on things during all this. So Mucus, you have to go to the link that was on the screen earlier, so bzpower.com/giveaway, and it'll take you to a Google form where you can enter in our giveaways. All right, so next up, 75163 Crinux Imperial Shuttle, 78 pieces for $10, so it doesn't seem like that great of a deal. Also includes an Imperial Shuttle pilot and not Krennic. So that's a little disappointing. This would have been a nice way to add Krennic in a cheaper set, because I think he was only otherwise available in the full-size shuttle set, which was pretty expensive. I think it was like over $100. So missed opportunity in my book. You can see the wings will fold up. We've got the Y-Wing Microfighter with the generic pilot in there. I don't think I got any of these other Rogue One Microfighters. Although the U-Wing and the Y-Wing do look cool. I just never got around to it. They weren't cool enough. Alright, so let's open it up and get building. Yes, Toe of Pie, you do still owe me some info from the convention circuit for the conventions we did have in 2020. More stuff, more free stuff, man. I know. Like I was just saying, life's been busy for us too, so I understand. Some people just have not had the time. mean, I guess some people count keychains. Some people are known to take the keychain part off of the minifig and use the minifig, but personally I do not. Alright, putting together our Imperial pilot minifig. Very simple black tunic there. It's got a little microphone piece, slightly printed hat, a little bit of back printing, and no double-sided head. The tunic, since it doesn't have any rank insignia on it, would actually probably be pretty usable outside of Star Wars, which is kind of nice to have. I feel like yeah, a lot of these other figures are pretty. It's pretty obvious that they are Star Wars figures, especially the ones that have like Rebel and Imperial and Republic insignia and such on them. So it's kind of nice to have something for, you know, the people who want to make mocks that aren't Star Wars, which is a lot of people, can use that torso for other things. Pretty square, boxy build so far. Not giving me a lot of excitement. Do have some interesting snot brackets going with their face on the bottom. So actually the quote-unquote tops of the bracket are coming off the side. So alright, it's getting a little interesting there. Give them a little credit. Yeah, and obviously with with these sets, the designers are very limited to what they can do. But I feel like some definitely are bigger hits than others. So going back to all the announcements, Star Wars announcements from the other day, talked about, you know, like Rogue One, or Rogue Squadron, sorry, Rogue Squadron movie. I think I briefly mentioned, you know, the Acolyte, and there's going to be, what was it, like Heroes of the New Republic or something of the New Republic, which is going to be kind of a set at the same time as Mandalorian, but not necessarily like any overlap. Well, I'm sure because it's Star Wars, there'll be some overlap. But it seems like it's going to be kind of focused on like the early days of the New Republic as they're kind of building themselves up, maybe. But then we're getting a Lando series, which is awesome. I'm hoping that means we get Donald Glover reprising his role. How fantastic would that be? And like, even though it's been a few years since Solo, well, that just means the series gets set a few years after Solo. And hey, maybe that will be like a mechanism for bringing young Han Solo back into the universe as well. Because I doubt we're ever going to get a sequel to Solo, unfortunately. I blame The Last Jedi for that. Alright, see you later, Topai. Hope the video editing goes well. Good luck with that. Catch you next time, if you don't come back. So I'm definitely curious to learn more about that Lando series. And hoping against hope I get some more childish Gambino in Star Wars. Also announced that Hayden Christensen was going to be in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which is interesting that he'll be Darth Vader in that, but would be surprised if they did like maybe some flashbacks or something too, a little de-aging technology to make them look a little younger, and give us some Clone Wars flashbacks. Alright, done with our Krennic shuttle here. It's interesting, the back wing here is attached on a click hinge, so technically it can move, although that would make it difficult for the pilot to sit if you did that. And so yeah, the kind of snot building we did on the bottom here keeps the wings from going down too far and keeps them kind of locked in position at the proper angle to match the 45-degree slopes here. And then they go up. And we got the two stud shooters on the front. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking at that $90 set we were talking about before. You might remember we did build that during our Rogue One stream a few years ago. I still have that assembled. I'm just like kind of looking at that compared to this, and this one just doesn't look very similar. Looks, yeah, like I said, the designers are sometimes limited with the parts they have, and I think this one is a bit of a miss, unfortunately. So, good try. Appreciate the effort. Alright, see what we've got coming up next. Alright, next up is going to be our first 2-pack. Coming from everyone's favorite movie, The Last Jedi. We've got the Ski Speeder versus the First Order Walker Microfighter. Was the ATM6, I think is the designation of the Walker. It's got a Resistance Speeder pilot who is not named, and the First Order Walker driver, who's got an interesting helmet print there. 216 pieces for $20, not a horrible deal off the front there. Well, apparently it even comes with a little bit of scenery, of the crate scenery there, with another little stud shooter. I think I would have rather not had that, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when I build it. Oh, we actually have some numbered bags here and 2 instruction books. Although the instruction books aren't numbered, but you can clearly see that one is the ski speeder and one is the walker. So put back 2 off to the side. It looks like the walker is the first one, based on the minifig. Alright, so we've got our walker driver. So we got the same angry head as our clone and our first order snowtrooper. Like that decent printing on the front there, and a little bit on the back. And he's got a first order stormtrooper helmet with that nice stripe over the right eye. Guess that designates him as a walker pilot. Better than a walker Texas Ranger. And the first thing we're building is that little bit of scenery that I said I wasn't a big fan of just looking at. Kind of interesting too that the scenery is something for the Resistance, and yet we're building it with the First Order walker. Alright, so there is our little bit of scenery. It's got a stud sheeter on a little clip-in bar assembly that can turn a little bit. It's got some extra ammo back there. But since our speeder pilot's going to be flying his speeder, I'm not sure who's going to be shooting with this. But I guess if you really want to make a crate diorama, not a bad thing. I don't know. It's a dark red plate and some white plates, so I think if you want to make a crate diorama, you probably have plenty enough parts for that, or wouldn't cost you a lot to get the parts that make up that little thing. So we actually might hear, got some new music on our stream. BZPower member Namada, I'll hope that's how you say it, posted a topic with his Bionicle EDM mix. So I'm sure you are noticing a lot of familiar tunes here. Got some Hero playing right now. It was kind of to share the file with us so we could play it on our stream. So we have included it in our regular mix. Got a printed control panel tile, 1x2 cheese slope here. Pretty sure that's a generic print that we've seen before. Have noticed that since the droid fighter, I guess since the snowspeeder, we haven't really had any printed parts. So this guy, the X-Wing, the Snowspeeder, and Krennic Shuttle, none of them had any printed elements. So it's kind of nice to see some of those returning. Even if it's more of a generic print. Wonder if that was like a cost-saving measure. Like, oh, these sets are getting too expensive. We need to keep the price at $10. No printing. Lots of snot brackets in this set, so at the very least, from a parts perspective, it's good for that. Alright, so here is our Canon attachment point going on a hinge brick. For adding a couple of stud sheeters on the side, which definitely just for playability purposes. I don't believe that the actual AT-M6 in the films had those. I always love when I say like the actual thing when I'm talking about a fictional thing in Star Wars, but you get the idea. Cute little head coming together here. Which will attach via a mixel joint. So cute with those little teethies on there. To the feet. Use the back feet. Yeah, the back feet. very complex build. I was hoping for a little more there, but I guess it'll work. It can now stand. Kind of an interesting shape there. I'll show that off on the main camera in a sec. Because I think this is about it for the ATM6 here. Huh. There's no actual cannon on the back. And now I'm looking because they have a picture of the actual set. I guess you can't really see it too much in the actual set, but there is like a big cannon that's supposed to be on the back here. And then on this set we just have like these two clips. But the feet are kind of interesting because of the way that they hinge. And now I know that's because like in the they're kind of supposed to be modeled after primates and how like a gorilla will walk on just like knuckles. So that's kind of what they're going for there. So it's definitely an interesting design. The back legs don't go back very far. That might be for the best, but there is I guess a little bit of posability that you can do with them. You can kind of alternate the legs to make it look like it's walking. As you could see before, you can stand it on just the two rear legs, so you probably get it so it's only on like two of the legs and the other ones are like off the ground. Might be a little difficult with limited range of motion. You could definitely get one of the front ones off the ground, I think, and still get it to stand. And then of course it's got the posable head and the stud shooters on the side. It's not a horrible little model. Yeah, so you can stand pretty well with 1 foot off the ground. So got a little carried away there with my opening. So we've got our ski speeder pilot, who despite having a beard is not Snap Wexley, because he was not in The Last Jedi. I do really like this hairpiece. It's molded to have these headphones, and not just a headphones, like a headset. So I think that's a really cool headpiece. If you want to like make a streamer, someone who's like streaming on Twitch, playing video games, then you can give them that headpiece, give them some nice headphones. And I really like the torso printing with the jumpsuit there. while we build his ski speeder, we can put him at the turret. And it's going to be a long ship. Obviously, this is probably going to be sideways. But I think it's like the biggest single piece we've gotten in any of these microfighter sets so far. That's what, 2x12? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, yep. 2x12 plate. Also kind of looking forward to the asymmetry in this build. Which is something that I don't think like any of the other sets have really had. I guess the First Order Snow Speeder had like a little bit of asymmetry with that little one little sensor array thing sticking out of the front. But other than that, it's pretty much been like, if you're doing it on this side, you do it on the other side. So it's cool to get away from that for a change. If the walker was a good source of snot brackets, so is the ski speeder here, so I don't know if this set is really all that widely available anymore, because it's a couple years old at this point, but you can snag it. Definitely not a bad parts pack for sure. So we've got 3 snot brackets here to attach this plate, and we're attaching another snot bracket onto that, and possibly putting one on the other side. So it's like snot brackets on top of snot brackets. And yep, we are putting one on the other side. So definitely some good parts in this set for sure. The movie may not have been everyone's favorite. At least we got some good pieces out of it. Yeah, so far I'm really digging all the asymmetry in here. Curious to see how lopsided it's going to be, because it's very, obviously very heavy on this side right now. Kind of impacts its swooshability a little bit to not be very balanced. I feel like that would impact its ability to actually fly as well, but you know, fictional vehicle and all that. We've got a black pneumatic T that we're attaching this flag piece to for the fin here. I think this set is fast becoming my favorite of the bunch. I really was not expecting that. Just because the two builds are both so unique. Of course, we've got our two stud shooters. Sure as I put the wrong slope on here like 20 steps ago. So see the trans black one and the solid one goes over there. Oh, yay, spammers. And let's ban them. Oh, of course, you gotta have that like little skid thing that comes out of the bottom. And some boat studs. Load up those stud shooters. I think we're about done here. Yep. All right, take him off our little scenery piece. And so here is the ski speeder. Still very lopsided, like I'm trying to hold it just by the little flag thing, and it really wants to just go down that way. So yeah, that might impact its swooshability a little bit, but honestly, not that big of a deal. I love the asymmetry in here. Even the cockpit is asymmetric. Like you see, this panel piece is like sticking out sideways on this side, and it's like normal ways on this side. Got like the little 1x2 plate with a bar here, which is not on the other side. So yeah, lots of asymmetry, lots of interesting techniques with snot brackets. For like a little set, this is not bad. And then, you know, there's obviously the 2-pack with the walker here. And not bad for 20 bucks. I think you get your money's worth as far as parts and some interesting builds. Again, not everyone's favorite subject matter, but still fun builds. This little thing, waste of parts, they didn't need it. I would have still been fine with paying the normal price for that, even without that on there. And yeah, definitely in the running for some of my favorites so far. Alright, let's see what we've got next. We're getting near the end. Alright, next up we've got another 2-pack, also from everyone's favorite film, The Last Jedi. The A-Wing versus TIE Silencer. 188 parts, so a bit fewer parts than the last one, even though this was also a $20 set. But at least it comes with a known character, Kylo Ren, without his mask and his cool lightsaber. The A-Wing pilot, I believe she does have a name. If you look on Brickset or somewhere like that, I think it's like Lysa, something like that. On her little A-Wing. TIE Silencer looks like it might be a nice build there. The scale definitely looks off. That A-Wing looks way too big for the 2-pack. And interestingly enough, despite like the past few sets all having stud shooters, this one goes back to the flick fire missiles. So it's kind of curious. Alright. Alright, so again, 2 instruction books, one for each set. Looks like bag 1 is going to be the A-Wing, and bag 2 is the TIE Silencer. So push those over there. And since we're making some space, we can move some of these guys back here a little bit. Alright, so we've got our A-Wing pilot. Again, I forget her name there, but she does have one. Got some nice printing, very complex and detailed printing on that torso there. Fairly plain face. She does have a dual-sided face with her visor down, which is kind of like a step backwards, I feel like, from Snap Wexley and that dual-molded helmet. But with her helmet on, which is also some really nice printing on it. The visor looks good. I like that we at least have the option. You can have it on or off. But I did definitely liked the helmet that has the built-in dual molded visor, but I'm sure that is a very expensive part to make, especially combining a solid with a transparent plastic. So I can see why they might not use that a lot. If they already had that other one in production because that was for, Poe Dameron was going to be using it, and that helps justify the cost since he's one of the main characters, and I can see why they just do it for some of them. Starting out with a piece of useless scenery here. Looks like it's a set of stairs, and I guess like a little refitting thing for the A-Wing. It's got an extra flick fire missile and a wrench. And that was it. Again, very much a waste of parts there. All right. Lots of wedge plates here. Giving our A-wing its kind of arrowhead shape. Still not sure how I feel about, you know, in the sequel era, them still having X-Wings and A-Wings and Y-Wings. And TIE Fighters, I guess, for that matter. It's like between the Galactic Republic and the Galactic Empire / Rebellion, you know, there's definitely similarities in the ships, but it wasn't like, you know, ship design just kind of stalled. So you're saying, like, you know, in the Rebellion era, that they just kind of reached perfection, and now it was just kind of like refining. Like, there's no possible areas to improve ships anywhere at all. Seems a little unlikely. Especially since a longer period of time elapses between the sequel trilogy and the original series than between the original series and the prequels. It's like you're telling me the ship's just stagnated and we just have the same things? That the Millennium Falcon can still outrun anything even though it's like 80 years old or something at this point? You're not that old, but I don't know how long it was in existence before Lando got it. Hashtag Star Wars thoughts. I think we're making the bottom of the A-wing here. It's gonna attach on there and kind of sandwich it. Odd that we didn't do that wall like first and then build on top of it. Maybe that's a stability thing. I'm concerned if you build this and then try to build on top, it would be too wobbly. So instead we build two pieces, and potentially I guess we're gonna sandwich it together. Yep, there we go. All right, now it's time to build the engines. That's what the A-wing is all about. These big honking engines. Alright, so since the engines are built on these 2x2 round bricks and plates. They of course have a Technic axle hole in them, so we can insert these pin axle combos in here. And those can then connect onto this. And so we've got this 1x2 plate with the bars on here, so when we attach the engines, it limits how much they can turn. Kind of puts the fins at a close to proper angle. It's not perfect, but it's not horrible either. Some trans orange studs for the engine glow. Alright, looks like we're about done here. So there is our little A-wing. Not really all that little. Like I said, it definitely feels out of scale with what I would expect. You know, an A-wing is a pretty small fighter. Engines seem like they're too small and the nose seems too big. It would be really cool if they could have found a way to make this 3 studs wide and have the notch in between, although I forget if the Resistance A-Wings might not have had the notch, so that might be accurate, but it would have been cool if it was 3 wide and could have, even if it didn't have the notch, just be like a little narrower, make it a little sleeker of build to match the source material a little better. Not a fan of the flick fires on the wingtips. Like, at least some of the sets that have the flick fires, they hide them pretty well. These guys are very obvious. Yeah, so that's that. Alright, get rid of our extra parts. Move on to our tie silencer. And as we get closer to finishing the tie silencer, we will put up our giveaway link again if you have not yet entered. If you have entered, you're good to go. You don't need to worry about that again. And we'll be picking our next 3 winners in a little bit. This might be the first Kylo Ren minifigure I have. I don't really have a lot of sets from the sequel trilogy, at least not that I've built. I think I have the full-size tie silencer set, but I've never built it. So yeah, there is Kylo Ren. He's got like a normal-ish face and a very angry yelly face, and he gets his long emo hair. So yeah, dig the lightsaber there. Some nice printing on the back and front. I like that it's a gunmetal lightsaber. You don't see that color too often in lightsabers, so it's kind of nice to have. Yeah, I know we've been just doing quite a few Star Wars streams recently. And even though this stream, I think, is just about the last sets we have that LEGO has provided us with recently, I could certainly do Star Wars streams for a long time afterwards. I think I talked about earlier how I do have the Ghost and the Phantom from Rebels hiding in my collection. Just that I have the full-size TIE silencer set. I have at least a couple of TIE fighters, probably at least one X-Wing out there somewhere. Lots of Star Wars. And obviously, if you've entered our giveaway, you can see we're asking for your input as far as what sets we build in the future. And clearly some of those choices were Star Wars as well. I just I'm a Star Wars nerd. Sorry, not sorry. We do try to mix it up. You know, we did our architecture live build. And we did request to get from LEGO the new Christmas Village or Winter Village set, the Elf Clubhouse. But I guess because it keeps going in and out of stock, they have not been able to get us a copy yet. And so we may build the new Winter Village set in January. Presumably demand will go down by then, and they'll be able to get it to us. Hopefully they don't just cancel it outright. That would be a bummer, but I'd understand. Nice trans red parts, got a 1x2 tile and some cheese slips to make that evil looking cockpit. Not bad, there's a bit of an ugly gap underneath here, but I think I can overlook that for the most part. Oh, I got a printed control panel, looks like the exact same one from the First Order Walker there. So yeah, printed parts have really taken a nosedive since that snowspeeder. And looking at our last two sets, I don't see any printed parts jumping out at me there. I feel like I should be doing this another set of times. Yep. I mean, they are microfighters, Box Commander. There's not much to them. Do have some differences between the two sides. I'm taking a guess here that this is how they go together. Hopefully I'm not wrong. Otherwise I may have to do a little bit of disassembly. Oh wow, this is almost done. Better go put up our giveaway link. Can head on over bzpower.com/giveaway if you have not entered already. If you have entered, you're all good to go. And we'll be picking our next 3 winners very shortly. let's see if I did that right. Yep. Alright, and those just clip together. And you have some trans red Baraki eyes that go in the flick fires. Alright, so I understand for the sake of building, right, the wings are identical, but it would be one thing if the 1x2 plates with bars on the top and the 1x2 plates with clips were the same color, but they're not. So now when I attach them, it's going to be slightly like backwards. I almost kind of want to disassemble them and fix them, but I don't know that I care that much. And then we're actually making use of that little space in between the clips to attach the wings. Also, really not a fan of like how far out the back the flick fires stick. I understand that's so you actually have room to flick them, but yeah, it does not look great. All right, and that is it for Kylo Ren. So turn that off for a sec. All right, so let's show off. Get the pilot in there. Yeah, I guess it's fairly swooshable, but yeah, not a fan of it very much. Like, they don't do a very good job capturing the wing look. You know, obviously they're working with a limited number of parts, but still not liking it. You know, from the back it looks just like super boxy, and I guess like the casual eye, you're not going to notice the difference between the clips on the two sides, but now I do. It does make me want to fix it. It's an easy fix. You don't even need any extra parts or anything to do that, but that's that. And when you pair it up with the A-Wing, I think the A-Wing is definitely the better of the two builds, but I'm not overly a fan of either one here. Definitely like the Walker and the Ski Speeder better as a pair. All right, give people a sec to enter as we get ready for our next set. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pick our next batch of winners. Mavlock, congratulations. You have won a Baze Malbus buildable figure. We'll be sending you an email to get your address so we can get you your prize. Next up, Max Howell, congratulations, you've won a Darth Maul buildable figure. Again, we'll send you an email so we can get you that. And finally for now, Brickus, congrats on winning a Kylo Ren buildable figure. So we'll be getting in touch with everyone here, and we still got 2 more to give away. And yeah, just another reminder, if you've already entered, you do not need to enter again. You're still good for our last couple of giveaways, which we'll be doing in just a little bit after we build our last 2 sets. We've got 2 more prizes to give away. So as you can see in the top left, we've got one of our most recent Microfighter sets. This one and the next one have kindly been provided to us by LEGO, and it was the whole inspiration for kicking off this live build, of building all these other ones that I already had in my collection that I had yet to build, but we've got a couple new ones from this year that LEGO sent us, so I figured, hey, I'll build some of the old ones too. This is the Resistance Y-Wing. I believe this is the second Y-Wing microfighter. We also had a Rebel Y-Wing from the Rogue One era. This one, though, includes Zori Bliss. So it's probably the cheapest way of getting her as a minifig. And yeah, let's open it up and check it out. Huh, that's interesting. So the instruction booklets have shrunk down in size by like an inch or so. And yeah, so all the other instructions we've built today have been the same size. And now we're getting into the 2020 sets, and they cut it back just a little bit. I wonder if that is just to save on paper. That's kind of just curious that it just caught my eye like that. Also is advertising Instructions Plus. So I guess if you download the app, you can scan this QR code and build it using your phone or tablet instead. The thing I'm immediately noticing about the smaller instruction book is that it does not want to stay open as well. I mean, I would say LEGO instructions in general are kind of like that, but this is a little more obvious. So it's interesting that Zori, the minifigure, has a black head, because you never actually see her face in the film. Hey there, Dylan, welcome. So she does have some really nice printing. I feel like that is generic enough that it can be used elsewhere. And then she's got her helmet and find her guns. She's got a pair of gunmetal flintlock pistols that date back to the old pirate sets. I don't recall her using any guns that look like that in the film, but hey, I'm not going to complain about that piece. And her helmet is very detailed and intricate from a molding perspective. Printing wise, not as much, just has like some black printing on it, but it's a really cool looking helmet. Definitely a nice way to get this minifig of the character from the most recent film on the cheap in a $10 set. Doing alright, Dylan. As well as can be these days, right? I almost wish that I had the that Rebel Y-Wing microfighter so we could kind of compare the Resistance one and this one, but oh well. I just have to make do. We'll judge it on its own merits. Mavlock, did you win the giveaway? Yes, you have won. You won Baze Malbus, so you should have an email in your inbox, so you can get your prize. Yes, Don, we do have some new music. Talking about a little bit before, but BZPower member Numata was kind enough to share their Bionicle EDM mix with us, so we could play it here. We actually recently shared their music on the front page, because yeah, I saw the topic they started. I'm like, oh, this is cool. And they were more than happy enough to let us use it here. Figure after however many years of the same soundtrack to these builds, any sort of variation would be welcome. Yeah, you're very welcome, Mavlock. Alright, so we got a bunch of snot brackets on the side here that we're then covering up with these wedge slopes. And immediately it's becoming kind of recognizable as that Y-wing cockpit shape. Then a black pneumatic T, and some of these clip bar majigs become the turret. That is on the back of the cockpit. On to the engines, which is my favorite so far. Right now, I would probably be leaning towards the Vulture Droid, actually. The Vulture Droid, and then the Ski Speeder, and the First Order Walker, I think would be among the favorites so far. There are definitely some hits and misses. Got some nice Technic building going on here. Like not super advanced, but considering it's a $10 set, it's got a good amount of Technic. They're definitely using the flickfire missile pieces to good effect here, using it for the nose blasters, and now they're using it for the engines on the Y-wing as well. And I think we'll actually be using some of them as actual flickfires, unfortunately. I feel like the flickfire piece is best used not as a flickfire missile. Yeah, so you did not pick a good one there. I think the Resistance X-Wing, probably one of my least favorites so far. Definitely not the worst. Made better by the fact that it includes Tem and Wexley, but that's about the only thing it has going for it is the cool minifig. Alright, so I really like the engine pods on this. Like I said, we've got like the 1x3 Technic beam, a bunch of Technic pins, these 2x2 round bricks that have the Technic pinhole. Nice use of the flick fire missiles on there. And then, yeah, wow, that's just about done. Other than a couple flick fires. Alright. Oh, we actually get an extra musket in this set. The nice gunmetal musket piece. That was not one that I would expect to get an extra of. It's not like you get extra blasters in other sets, so. Alright, there is our Y-Wing. Not a bad build. The flick fires are definitely ugly additions. This is one of the cases where they are more of a detriment. You know, you could easily modify the set and take off those little Technic pieces and the flick fires. But other than that, I definitely like it. It's nice and solid. You can see I can hold it by the back of one engine, and you can swoosh it around pretty easily. And yeah, like I said, I do like the engine pods. I like the snot construction on the cockpit area. So all in all, it's not a bad little set. I think the only things I would change would be get rid of the flick fires and give us Babu Frick. Needs more Babu Frick. Alright, and now we're going to be moving on to our last build. Our last 2-pack as well. Also kindly provided to us by LEGO. The T16 Sky Hopper versus the Bantha. Definitely a reach. I feel like this is the second Tatooine Microfighter set that has really been like a stretch of the imagination. Like, did they really have no other material left? The one before that would have been the escape pod and the dewback. I think having the dewback and the Bantha as like these little builds are really cool. Especially since I don't believe we've ever actually gotten a Bantha mold. We have gotten a dewback, but having a brick built dewback I think is better than a dewback mold. And having a Bantha mold, even if it's not quite in scale, I think is really cool. You know, I'm a fan of the T16 Sky Hopper from a nostalgia perspective. I've got the most recent system set version of that still built, but definitely an odd choice to have here for sure. And like, you know, we've got all these other microfighters we've built that for the most part are like these iconic ships, other than the First Order Snowspeeder. They're all like these things that play kind of big roles in the movies or TV series. And then this one's kind of odd. Like the Bantha makes sense, but maybe they like make the Bantha and then like Luke's land speeder. Like we haven't gotten a microfighter of that, I don't think. I feel like that would have been a better choice that would have made some more sense. If we look on the back, oh look, one of the play features is the gaffy stick attaches to the Bantha. Yeah, definitely a head scratcher here. But maybe we'll be swayed by the build. Oh, and I can see Dylan in chat. You had the same thought as me. I didn't even see you mention that. So you've got the same smaller size. Oh no, it is a bigger size instruction, but it is not quite the same size. So that was very curious. Is that like from, what was our first microfighter set, like 2014? From 2014 to 2019, all the instructions were like this size. And now in 2020, they moved to two slightly different sizes, maybe to save paper, question mark? Not really clear. Not a big deal, just kind of curious thing to notice. looks like bag 1 is going to build us the Bantha. One thing I think I'm glad about with this 2-pack compared to the other ones we built earlier is that they don't look like they have any additional like scenery. So the TIE Silencer and the A-Wing had like these little steps or something for the A-Wing, and the Ski Speeder and the Walker had this stupid thing. Those are both definitely like detriments to the set as a whole, even if they didn't take away from the builds. It's just like an odd inclusion. All right, so first off, we've got our Tuscan Raider. Some nice back printing there. Definitely, I guess, nice to get some more Tuscan Raiders, especially since, you know, they're iconic from the first film. But you know, now these days they're also iconic from The Mandalorian. They've definitely been appearing quite a bit in there. So it's nice to have some more of those. Little brick-built gaffy stick for them. Have I seen the new Transformers Beast Wars figures? Yeah, they're pretty good. I think there's a Dinobot that was just revealed recently that did not look so good. I saw that one, I'm like, yeah, they missed the mark there, but the Megatron and the Optimus Primal and the Cheetor look pretty good. I wasn't a huge fan of the Black Arachnia, or like I said, the Dinobot, but the others were definitely good. I did get my Tigatron since I ordered from Hasbro instead of like an importer. It did take a little bit longer, but I got my Tigatron. He is pretty fantastic. Yeah, there's actually, I think, been what, 2 versions of the T16 as like full-size sets. So the one I got was from, I don't know, what, like 4 years ago or something maybe. But then there's one I think even older than that that I did not get. And yeah, it's kind of funny because like in the canon, it only really appears like Luke has a model of it that he swings around, and then you can see it in the background. You can see part of it in the background of a couple scenes in the Lars homestead. But other than that, it's just like not there. And yeah, it's been, you know, like I'm sure Hasbro and Kenner back in the day made toy versions of it, and we've got Lego versions of it. It's like running out of things to make Star Wars versions of. Yeah, there's definitely more the Raptor mode in the new Dinobot. I agree that I looked at and was like, that needs some help. And just like, it didn't look like him at all. Maybe with like a better paint job and better deco, I might have been fine, but with what they showed, it was not impressing me. All right, so they might have saved paper by making the instructions smaller, but they are still definitely not very readable. It's hard to tell the difference between the dark brown and the normal brown. It's just hard to see, like, just tell the difference between the dark brown elements. They just kind of all like blur together on the page here. I think if they had been like outlined in white, like frequently when you put a black element on, they will outline the black one in white. If the dark brown was outlined in white, I think that would definitely improve the visibility. But as it is now, it is so hard to read. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of awesome Star Wars and Marvel news from the Disney investor call. We were talking about the Star Wars stuff, a little bit of that earlier. So we can start by talking about the Marvel stuff. Definitely interesting, some of the new shows that were announced. You know, War Machine essentially kind of getting his own show seemed pretty cool. I'm not too familiar in the comics with what I think it's like Riri Williams' character for the new Iron Heart TV show. So I'm not very familiar with her in the comics to know how to feel about that, but I would say in general, you know, more Marvel is good in my book. So yeah, that definitely looked interesting. The trailers, you know, we got the new trailer for WandaVision, which looked pretty great. Sorry, trying to make sure I put all these in the right spots. The look behind the scenes of Miss Marvel looked good too. Then I think there was news that America Chavez is going to be in the new Doctor Strange movie. And again, I'm not too familiar with her character, but I'm all for more Marvel. What else am I missing on the Marvel side? Oh, they officially announced the Fantastic Four movie, so that's going to be interesting. See if you can finally get a good Fantastic Four movie. Alright, Bantha's coming together pretty nicely here. I mean, I would say in general I liked all the Marvel news, and nothing worried me too much, although I think they did push back Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because apparently stuff that happens in Black Widow is going to impact Falcon and Winter Soldier, so they have to wait until after Black Widow comes out from the air Falcon and Winter Soldier, so that's a bit disappointing, especially if, like, you know, both the movie and the TV show are done and they're just like sitting somewhere not releasing, which I think is the biggest bummer of them all so far. That would be my biggest complaint out of any of it. Oh yeah, Secret Invasion. Sam Jackson coming back as Director Fury, and then what's his name reprising his role as Talos, the Skrull. So that's pretty cool, for sure. I will say I've definitely been getting pretty hyped with a lot of the rumors around Marvel that they didn't talk about during the investor call, like all the different Spider-Man rumors. I think some of them are confirmed, like Alfred Molina coming back as Doc Ock, but then of course there's all the rumors of like the different, you know, Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire coming back. Kirsten Dunst, I believe, coming back. I forget who she played, if she was MJ or oh, I can't remember any of the other female protagonists from Spider-Man. Gwen Stacy. I forget who she played, but her coming back. And I think we already knew that Electro was potentially coming back, so that's definitely been really interesting seeing how they're going to try to tie all that together and kind of do some Spider-Verse stuff in the next Spider-Man movie. Ben Mendelsohn as Talos, yes, thank you. And Kirsten was MJ. All right, I know a thing or two. It's been so long since I saw any of those old Spider-Man movies, and I never even saw all of them. I think I saw Spider-Man 1 and 2, and then The Amazing Spider-Man. I never saw Spider-Man 3, I never saw The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So we actually get some extra Tauntaun horns, because that's what this piece was originally from, was the Tauntaun. So you get an extra set of those in tan, or brick yellow, if you prefer. So that's kind of nice. I think they were light gray on the Tauntaun, so that's kind of nice to get them in a different color. I'm sure they've been in different colors. I think they were used on the Wampa as well, not just the Tauntaun. So here is our Bantha. It's got a little clip for the gaffy stick. The tail is on a clip hinge, so that can go up and down. And the head is on a mixel ball joint. So it's kind of got a bit of posability. Although when you look at it from the side, the head is a little lacking. I think it would have been nice if they had been able to like snot over and like cover up that gap a little bit. And then of course the fact that the mixel ball joints are still only available in light and dark gray kind of detracts from it a little bit. But I would say overall, I think it's a cute little Bantha. Best Bantha we've got, and if you like tilt the head to the side and then just only look at it from the side, he looks pretty good. So that is our Bantha. Maybe I had it backwards then that. Oh no, because if Falcon and Winter Soldier has to come out before Black Widow, then why isn't it coming out now? Or maybe it was one of the other shows I'm thinking of that they're kind of had time issues. All right. Anyway, on to the T16, our last build today. We've got our T16 pilot. We've got some plain dark red legs, which is kind of nice to get those unprinted. And a pretty generic torso. You can see he's got his visor printed on his face. And on the back side, he's got a big grin because he just made it through Beggar's Canyon and shot some womp rats. A little bit of back printing there. And then generic Rebel helmet with some nice printing on there. Yeah, maybe that was just a rumor I heard about the reason for things being delayed. It's hard to keep track of what's real and what is just rumors these days. So yeah, I think that was most of the Marvel stuff that was announced. You know, I will say, I guess that overall is obviously Marvel has been a pretty slow burn on Disney Plus, but definitely, like, if you're a Marvel fan, make sure you have that Disney Plus subscription, I guess. And of course, the other news that came out is that they're raising the price of Disney Plus, $1 a month or $10 a year, starting I think in like March or something. So that's a bit of a bummer. I was one of those crazy people who locked in, did whatever that special deal was to get 3 years of Disney Plus at the beginning. So definitely happy about that. But I mean, we're already like over a year in, so gonna have to pay whatever the jacked up rates are in a year and a half or so. So that's a bit of a bummer. But I guess they figure they're gonna be adding enough value. I mean, we'll see what the market can support with HBO Max and Netflix and CBS and everyone else all doing their own thing. See who's willing to pay the money. Replace the Banthan Microfighter with the giant Whopper. That would have been good. Oh, that was the other still in the rumor territory about Marvel, is that there's the rumor that Charlie Cox is going to reprise the role of Matt Murdock as, I guess, Spider-Man's lawyer in the next Spider-Man movie. You know, obviously, I think we're beyond spoiler territory at this point, but Far From Home ends with Spider-Man's identity being revealed, and obviously some people have some issues with him, and so I guess whatever is happening in the next movie, he's going to need a lawyer, and Charlie Cox is more than happy to provide his services pro bono. So that could be really awesome if we get some, Netflix Defenders crossover there. All right, so got some Technic action going in on our T16 here. Oh yeah, then just mentioning Jennifer Walters, I think they announced that the Abomination is going to be coming to She-Hulk. The original actor from The Incredible Hulk, the second MCU movie that no one wants to remember, is going to be returning. It's like, wow, that is a deep cut, guys. That's pretty cool. And I think they announced some other crossovers who are going to be in The Incredible Hulk. I think it was already rumored, but I think they officially said that Mark Ruffalo is going to be in that show, at least make an appearance. So that could be pretty cool. Alright, so far the T16 has been pretty interesting. I definitely like having that big Technic beam supporting. Definitely makes the big wing here nice and sturdy. And the snot striping is nice. No stickers anywhere to be found in any of these sets. So that's always cool as well. Yeah, the Loki show was interesting. We got the trailer for that. And I can't remember, there was like a new agency who I'm sure comic fans are like familiar with, or maybe not, maybe it's a new one that they're inventing. But they seem to be, that Loki seems to have ended up having to work for. So that's definitely seems like it could be interesting whenever that one comes out. Flag is not clicked on all the way. All right, we're on to the wings for our T16, which is pretty much going to wrap that up, so put up our giveaway link again. Why do I feel like I'm missing a piece here? stuck in the bag? Yes, it did. Always make sure you check the bag for missing pieces before you get rid of them there. But all right, so yeah, we covered most of the Marvel news, I think. But as far as the Star Wars news, like I said, we talked about it a little bit before, but I have no problems talking more Star Wars. And yeah, definitely so much awesomeness there. You know, it's like where to start. Yeah, Ahsoka series, like I think we all kind of hoped that was going to happen after she showed up in Mandalorian, so that's awesome. You know, just a lot of cool things there. Lando series, I'm hoping that means Donald Glover coming back. You know, getting some more New Republic stuff with that spinoff. Getting the Rogue Squadron movie, it just all looks awesome. All right, so that is it for the T16. I don't know about an animated Rebel sequel at this point. If we're getting an Ahsoka spin-off, and it's kind of has been shown what she's after, I think that's the best we're going to get to a Rebel sequel, which I am completely fine with. That looks like it's going to be pretty awesome. But I don't know about animated. I think the only animated thing, well, they talked about, so there's the Bad Batch show, which they already announced, which the sizzle reel on that looked awesome. And then the Star Wars Visions, which is going to be like Star Wars anime, which is pretty awesome. I've read some of the like manga Star Wars adaptations that they've done, which have been pretty awesome. So I'm really interested to see Star Wars through an anime lens. All right. So, our T16 Sky Hopper here, pretty fun little build. I definitely think they capture the look of the T16 pretty well. The wings, I guess, technically move, but they're just mainly supposed to stay in the down position. It's got little stud shooters on there, which are, you know, whatever. Definitely like the Technic build that was in here. I like the striping with brick built as opposed to like stickers or anything like that. You know, prints are always nice, but having brick built stuff is really cool too. And the Bantha is a pretty solid little build himself, except for the neck. That neck is definitely the detractor. So if you pose him right, the neck isn't an issue. But otherwise, it's a cool little brick built Bantha. I love it. Yeah, I mean, I certainly hope that the Ahsoka TV show gives us Sabine and Thrawn and Ezra. You know, obviously it would be in live action. It would be, I definitely want to see that story concluded, however it's done. Preferably, you know, in film or animation as opposed to a book or comic. Like, I love the Star Wars books and comics, but I think that story deserves, like, its due on, you know, whether obvious, probably not the big screen, but it deserves its due on a screen. All right, so we've got a couple more sets to give away, so I guess we will go through all of our sets and share some final thoughts. I guess we'll go through them in like pseudo chronological order as far as Star Wars timeline era. So we will start with our clone turbo tank I would say it's got some great parts. The build is just okay. The flick fire is definitely tacked on there. I would say the best thing you could say about this is that when it was available back in the day, it was a good source if you're trying to build a Phase 2 Clone Trooper army. But other than that, you know, it's a fine set, but nothing super exciting. And then we've got the ARC 170 with the clone pilot. They do a better job of hiding the flick fires here. Of course, when you look at the back, it means they do stick out a little bit, but from the front, it looks pretty good. It's got some nice printed tiles. I really like those. That was a nice little detail on there. And the minifigure is pretty cool. I think they do a good job of capturing the look of the ARC 170. The wings can close if you are so inclined, but I think it definitely looks better with them open. I would say a pretty solid set, but not my favorite. Yeah, I've definitely been stocking up on the Microfighters. So next up, this is probably one of my favorites, is the Vulture Droid. Comes with the Battle Droid pilot, who he can just hold on to the back there. Not really necessary. This is definitely better without it. But the uses a cool little Technic mechanism to allow the wings to fold up and down and become legs, so it can go in walk around mode, or then it can zoom around. The flick fires are pretty well hidden underneath, and it's just a solid little build, and I just love that they're able to capture this using a nice little Technic mechanism. So it has a lot of friction, right? So these, you can hold it by this, and you can see that the legs don't really wobble around that much, so they will stay wherever you pose them. So that's pretty nice. And then it's got this nice printed piece on the front here. The prints were in like the first few sets, and then they just kind of go away after a while, which is kind of sad. Alright, so those were our prequel era sets, I think. I guess next up, chronologically, would be Krennic's Shuttle, which is probably one of the most disappointing sets. Number one, it doesn't include Krennic. It includes a generic Imperial pilot. And while, you know, I guess the pilot is a good generic figure, you know, he doesn't have any like rank insignia on his chest, so it's just kind of like this generic black tunic, which isn't horrible. But you know, this would have been a great opportunity to give us Krennic in a set that wasn't $90, and instead we just get a generic pilot. The shaping on the set, not that great. You know, the wings do fold up and down, which is fine. It does have the stud shooters instead of flick fires, but they feel like very forced and very right up and in your face, sticking out of the front. So this is probably one of my least favorites of the bunch. Yeah, like I can see the normal size Crinux shuttle from where I'm sitting, and like, yeah, compared to that, this guy is a poor imitation. So going chronologically still, next up we would have the Banthan T16, but we just talked about them. Pretty good overall. Like I said, a bit of a reach as far as the source material goes. Like, you know, the T16, not very iconic. Bantha, slightly more iconic. You know, there's you know, that line in A New Hope, you know, where Luke thinks it's the Sand People, and then Obi-Wan's like, no, these footprints are side by side. Bantha, or the Tuscans travel in single file to hide their numbers. So it's kind of like, you know, a little iconic there. And since we haven't gotten a mold of a Bantha yet, this is a pretty nice, you know, substitution. And I honestly, I think a brick built is better than having a mold. So it's a good set, just a kind of a bit of a head scratcher from a source material perspective. It really feels like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel. Who is in the T16? Just a generic he's the T16 pilot, or the Sky Hopper pilot. There is not a named character or anything like that. Let's see, I have the box over here still. Yeah, the box literally just says T16 Sky Hopper pilot. So, like Dylan and I were talking about before, you know, I think a better choice in addition to the Bantha would have been Luke's land speeder, and give us a, yeah, it would have been another Luke Skywalker minifig, but I think it would have made more sense to do. So moving on, still in the original trilogy, but moving on to Empire Strikes Back, we've got the Snow Speeder, which is a solid little build. Generic Rebel pilot, not a named character, unfortunately. I'd say the only downside is the exposed dark tan studs on the Technic axle sticking out of the back. Might have been nice if they had covered those up with like some transparent plates, or even some light gray, like tile, 1x1 round tile or 1x1 round plate. But other than that, it's a pretty cool little set. I think it captures the Snow Speeder pretty well. It's got the flick fires on the bottom, sadly, but you know, what you gonna do about it? Overall, though, not a bad set. All right, moving on to the sequel trilogy, to The Force Awakens. We've got the Resistance X-Wing, a T70X Wing, which probably up there with Krennic Shuttle as far as dislikes. It looks alright with the S-foils open, but when they close, you have to like be careful, otherwise they look kind of all awkward. So you really have to like line them up good. Also, the lack of anything on the front here, like the lack of an intake or anything on that, really makes them look ugly. Like, you know, put like a little bracket with a round tile, or like a round tile with a hole in it or something that would have at least made it look like the engine intake. And then the overall shaping just seems weird. Like the nose from the side looks kind of weird. The only good thing about this set is that it includes Temin Snap Wexley in it. Other than that, I'm not a big fan of how it ended up looking. Then also from The Force Awakens, but cut from the final film, we have the First Order Snow Speeder, which was actually a fun little build. Has some cool snot work on the bottom. Like you don't really get to see it in the final build, but it was a fun little interesting build. The Snow Trooper is fine. He's got his little stud shooter turret on here. But all in all, like it was a good little set. But I'm sure they had this set in production before that scene got cut from the film, just kind of like the actual system set they were talking about before. But again, it's another kind of odd choice, but it does well for what it is. And then our last few, moving on to The Last Jedi. Probably one of my other favorites, in addition to the droid starfighter, is the speeder and the First Order walker, the ski speeder here. This is probably one of my favorite single builds. Very asymmetrical, has some really interesting snot techniques on the sides here that don't match the other side, so that was really cool. And then just a really fun and interesting build, and I think it does a pretty good job of capturing the look in the final model. And also the ski speeder pilot, who's not named, has a really cool hairpiece with the kind of headset that I really liked. So definitely a cool little set there. And then the other part of that was the First Order walker, which it's pretty nice. I think they did a good job with the head and kind of capturing the knuckle walker look of the legs, and it was a fun little build. Combined with the ski speeder, I think it's a pretty decent set, although the stud shooters on the side are kind of odd. And then it does have this stupid waste of parts piece of scenery. Not necessary by any means. Yeah, the ski speeder shape definitely looks like a failed B-wing for sure. Like, yeah, it wasn't quite space worthy, so we're just gonna let it speed along on crate. All right, so after that, we've got the TIE silencer and the A-wing. So the TIE silencer, not a fan of the general shaping. I don't think they did the best job they could at the wings of capturing the shape. The flick fires are especially egregious, sticking out of the back like that. And very blocky from the front, like just like this kind of shaping here doesn't do a good job capturing the sleekness of it. Didn't really sell me on it there. The A-wing also, you know, obviously these are not supposed to be like completely accurate, but the size and proportions of the A-wing, not a fan of. I feel like if they had made this 3 studs wide instead of 4, it would have looked a lot better. And the engines, I think, could have been a little bigger, because pretty much the A-wing is engines in a cockpit, and we have a nose in a cockpit in this set. And then the flick fires, again, not a big fan of there. And then it also comes with another waste of scenery, this pair of steps. And then that brings us to our last build, which was the Resistance Y-wing with Zori, which is actually pretty fun. There's some nice Technic builds in the pylons here and in the engines. Nice use of the flick fire missile piece. Yeah, all in all, you know, I would definitely like this one. The flick fires are a bit ugly. You know, what you're gonna do about it. So if they had removed the flick fires and added Babu Frick, I think this would have been just about a perfect microfighter. All right, so I think I covered all of them here. Just a quick summary. Favorites would be Vulture Droid, Ski Speeder, and the Walker. Least favorites, Krennic Shuttle, TIE Silencer, and A-Wing, and the Resistance X-Wing probably are the bottom of the barrel. And the rest are all just fine and average, and no major complaints about them. Yes, you can always rebuild it slightly. All right, so let's turn off the giveaway link there. Let's close us off to entries and pick our last 2 winners. Shmuppy, congratulations. You've won a Jyn Erso buildable figure. Thanks for joining us. And I believe the last winner of the day, Mucus Drizzle, congratulations. You have won a Baze Malbus buildable figure. And yeah, it looks like we gave away all of our prizes, 11 sets today, so thank you all for tuning in. Hope you had fun watching us build today. Yeah, so we may be taking next weekend off from doing any live builds. I was actually looking, we had to do our annual report for LEGO as part of the LEGO Ambassador Network, and I think we have done so far, I think this is going to be like our 37th live build that we've done this year. When you consider that there's only 52 weeks in a year, that's pretty good as far as how often we've been doing these. That's pretty crazy. Obviously, having the pandemic, I guess, helped in that regard, because I mean I wasn't going to any LEGO conventions that would be keeping me from doing live builds. But yeah, I think maybe a little breaks in order. We do have another set potentially from LEGO that I can't talk about just yet, that hopefully we'll be doing a live build of. We'll see how that goes. And then I'm also hoping we get the Elf Clubhouse as well, that we can do a live build of. But failing those 2 things, we do have, you know, the sets in my personal collection. So we'll be looking at your feedback as far as what you want to see us build next. I know the Tower of Orthanc was up there. A lot of people wanted to see that. So we'll definitely, again, take a look at the latest numbers and see what people are interested in, and do some planning for how we wrap up the year and start off 2021. So thanks again, guys. Congrats to all of our winners. I guess I'll just run through all of your names real quick in case you missed it earlier. So congrats to Mavlock, Brickus, Makuta LaRoca, Dollar, MSEP, Lord Oblivion, Max Howell, Mucus Drizzle, T-Torp, Tove Pie, and Shmuppy. Our 11 winners today. You should all have some emails in your inbox so we can get you your prizes. And yeah, so until next time, this is going to be Black 6 signing off. Thanks again for watching, guys, and have a good weekend. Stay safe, wear a mask, and we'll catch you online. Bye, everyone.